Howdy. So, we are going to be talking about rules. Something that we're all fans of, I'm sure. This conversation's been sparked by the new Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves video, which has sparked some interesting conversations on social media, as the trailer showed a druid wild shaping into a owlbear, and everyone has lost their collective fucking minds. There are those who are shouting that, hey, druids can't do that, and then there are even more people shouting, hey, shut the fuck up, and it's all very annoying. So we're gonna get into the rules, how they exist at our table, and as GMs, what do we do when we encounter a player wanting to do some really cool shit and the rules won't let them. On top of that, we'll be discussing another conversation that has been going on for some time in the weeks leading to this trailer: Pathfinder 2nd edition versus 5th edition, and finally, I wanna discuss crunchy versus non-crunchy games. I think that as a community we should redefine what crunchy is exactly. So we're gonna go ahead and get into that. Thank you for watching, and let's get started.
This is where I'd put my intro if I had one.
First off, 5th edition versus Pathfinder. This is a conversation that just won't fucking die. It's like the console wars of TTRPG. Both amazing systems, both allow for players and GMs alike to tell fantastic stories, to use their imagination to really just create moments that can last with them and people lucky enough to watch forever. Really, it all comes down to a preference of taste. A preference of taste on rules, which is what we're discussing. 5th edition is very, very rules light in the sense that it relies heavily on the catch-all of it's up to your GM. It's up to GM discretion. You know, there are a lot of things that are missing in 5th edition because it relies so heavily on the GM to decide. There's no real baked-in economy. A lot of it focuses heavily on the Forgotten Realms and Faerun. If you're a home brewer like me, that makes things a little bit more difficult. However, the strength of 5th edition is that it's so accessible. It's everywhere. There's a fucking movie out about Dungeons & Dragons, which is going to lead a lot of people into learning how to play Dungeons & Dragons, meaning that it's going to be even easier to get games of Dungeons & Dragons started, and that's going to be essentially the language that most newbies speak when they refer to things in the TTRPG community. So the strength of 5th edition is its accessibility and its community. I know when I say that there are some people like, oh, I hate the 5th edition community, but you know what I mean. And every community has its subsect of dickheads, so let's just not go there. That's the strength of 5th edition as I understand it. Again, everything presented here is just my opinion, right? Now, on the other side of things, there's Pathfinder, which is growing and substantially and good, because I find myself leaning more on the side of Pathfinder these days. Pathfinder has essentially rules for everything and tons of options for fleshing out almost any kind of character concept that you want, which is very pleasant. While 5th edition is more streamlined, you pick your race, you pick your class, and then you're off to the races. In Pathfinder, you pick your class, race, background. You also pick your background in 5th edition. Never forget that. But there's just a lot more to it. Essentially, in 5th edition, a paladin of redemption is going to be very similar to another paladin of redemption, right? However, in Pathfinder, there are so many different character options that finding two that are perfectly alike, it's not going to happen as often. Now, there are those who metagame, who, power build, so I'm sure there are very popular power builds that you'll see tons of, but for the most part, if you're playing to a character concept, if you're playing with more of a focus on role-playing, then it's very easy to make a character that is all your own, which is very, very cool. Which brings me to the discussion of crunch. I don't think having a lot of rules necessitates crunch. And I know that kind of flies in the face of the popular belief of what crunch is, which is just a system with a lot of rules. I think, however, it would behoove all of us to redefine crunch as a system with a lot of rules that make engagement difficult. I don't feel like the rules in Pathfinder make engagement difficult. In fact, there are more and more tools that are being created to make Pathfinder more accessible. You've got Path Builder, you've got, Demiplane is essentially making a D&D Beyond for Pathfinder. So there are a lot of resources that will make shorthand of the rules in Pathfinder. And the rules in Pathfinder, again, assist in creating unique character concepts, which is, I feel like that is a boon rather than a bane. And when people think crunch, I know a lot of them think crunch is a bad thing. It's like intimidating almost. And I feel as though if crunch is going to have that negative connotation, we should narrow down the definition of it. There are systems out there that do have rules that just make engagement unpleasant, difficult, makes it so you can't even really play the game. I'm debating whether I should list one, but I don't know. I think that's a conversation worth having. Yeah, that makes sense. I think that's a conversation that will be worth having, which is how we look at crunch.
Oh, crunch!
But more than that, I think in terms of rules, no matter the system, no matter the game, as GMs, I think we need to have a rule based on how we perceive rules, which is that rules exist solely to enhance the story and to provide a good time for the people at the table. And the moment that a rule becomes detrimental to either player experience or story, that's when we need to get rid of the rule. That's kind of why this entire druids turning into owlbears thing bothers me so goddamn much. And to be clear, I don't care that a druid in the movie can wild shape into an owlbear. What I care about is why can't players wild shape into an owlbear? We're seeing online so many GMs going, yeah, I'd let you do that at my table. I think Jeremy fucking Crawford of Wizards of the Coast was even like, hey, if you're at my table, I would let you change it to an owlbear. So if that's the general consensus, if that's how everybody at the table that plays this game feels, why is there a rule that says we can't do that? It just feels like one of my problems with 5th edition is that it feels like a lot of the rules that are there are either holdovers from older editions or not entirely thought out well. I don't know, but that's the sticky wicket that bothers me with this whole owlbear thing. But like I said, both systems are amazing. Really, the only thing that matters is that the people at your table are having a good time. and that's what rules do, you know? So that's it. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you for watching. If you have any thoughts, please comment below. Don't forget to like and subscribe and all that nonsense, and I will see you on the flip-flop.